Okay, let's talk about family conflict. We all know it, it's messy, it's complicated, and wow, does it hurt. But what if the entire way we think about it is wrong? I've come across a really fascinating perspective from a Korean philosopher that might just flip the script on every argument you've ever had.
I mean, it's a question we've all asked, right? You can get into it with a stranger and it's annoying, but you brush it off. But when it's family, that pain just cuts so much deeper. Why is that? Well, stick with me, because the answer we're going to explore today is probably not what you're expecting.
And what's really interesting is that this isn't just about family. The source for all this argues that we are living in an age of conflict. It's everywhere, at the office, with our friends, and yeah, even the battles we have inside our own heads. So the ideas we're about to unpack, they go way beyond the family dinner table.
All right, so to really get to the heart of this, we need a good case study. And the philosopher we're looking at picks a perfect one. That classic, almost legendary conflict between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law.
Yep, this specific dynamic is going to be our lens. By digging into this age-old tension, the philosopher starts to peel back the layers to show us something really fundamental about why we fight in the first place.
So let's start with a surface-level explanation. It's the one you've probably heard a version of before. We're going to call it the stolen son theory.
So the thinking goes like this. On a deep, maybe even subconscious level, the mother-in-law feels this huge sense of loss. Her son, the one she raised and poured everything into, feels like her property. And now this new person has just walked in and taken him away. It's this kind of primal, possessive instinct she might not even know she has.
And this quote just nails the psychology. Of course she can't direct all those negative feelings at her own son, so where does that resentment go? It gets redirected. It lands squarely on the daughter-in-law. It's a textbook case of misplaced emotion.
It's a pretty compelling idea, right? It makes a certain amount of sense, but, and this is the big turn, is this really the root of the problem, or is this just a symptom of something much, much deeper?
Because this philosopher argues that the real issue isn't about stolen sons or rivalries at all. Nope, it's about an internal state. It's a combination of two things, ignorance and attachment.
The key word here is a Korean term, yaksham. Now, it often gets translated as just greed, but it's way more nuanced than that. Think of it as a powerful desire for, or an attachment to something. And here's the kicker. This philosophy says the stronger your yaksham, the more ignorant you become to how things really are. It's like you can't see straight.
And get this yokshim, this attachment, it's not just for, bad stuff. It can be an attachment to your own children, which seems totally normal. But it can also be an attachment to your money, your job title, or even your own knowledge. The philosopher makes this fascinating point that you can be the most educated person in the room, but if you're attached to your knowledge as mine, that makes you ignorant.
So here's the bottom line. The mother-in-law's problem isn't the daughter-in-law. Her problem is her incredibly powerful yokshim, her attachment to her son. It's so strong it's made her ignorant to the reality that her son is his own person. That attachment is what's clouding her judgment and causing all the conflict. And this right here sets the stage for the most radical idea of all.
Okay, you might want to buckle up for this next part, because it challenges one of the most basic ideas we have about any conflict. The source calls it a law of nature. I'm just going to call it the law of pain.
So think about any argument you've ever been in. Usually you've got one person who says the hurtful thing, let's call them the attacker, and the person who gets their feelings hurt, the victim. The attacker might feel a little annoyed, maybe they feel guilty later, but the victim often feels this deep, all-consuming pain.
So the obvious question is, who's more at fault here? I mean, come on, it's the attacker, right? They're the one who caused the pain. That's our gut reaction. But this philosophy asks us to hit pause on that thought entirely.
And here it is. This is the core mind-bending principle. The one who is in more pain is the one with the greater fault. Just let that sink in for a second. It's completely backward from how we normally think. It says that how much pain you're in is a direct measurement of your own fault.
Now, let's be super clear about what fault means here. It's not about being a bad person. It's about cause and effect. This way of thinking says the other person's words, they're just a trigger. The actual pain you feel is generated inside of you by your own yaksham, your attachments, your ignorance. Your pain is basically a blinking alarm bell, signaling that you are attached to something.
So why is this so important? Because if you can grasp this, it actually gives you a way out. It's incredibly empowering. If our pain is a signal of our own inner state, we're not helpless victims anymore. We can actually do something about it. We can break the cycle.
And this lays out the trap we all fall into perfectly. It all starts with step 1. Our own attachment makes us feel pain. But instead of looking at that, we immediately jump to step 2. We blame the other person. And then, of course, they react, the fight gets bigger. And here's the crazy part. Our original attachment, our yokshim, usually gets even stronger, which just guarantees even more pain next time. It's a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle.
So the only way out, the only way to break the cycle, is to stop blaming. The moment you feel that sting of pain, your instinct is to point your finger. This philosophy challenges us to do the exact opposite. It says turn inward. Ask yourself, what am I attached to right now? What is my yokshim that's causing the suffering? Because that is the only part of this whole equation you actually have control over.
And that leaves us with one last pretty big question to reflect on. In your own life, your conflicts with your family, your friends, your coworkers, where does the pain point? Because according to this idea, that pain isn't just suffering. It's a map. It's pointing you directly to the attachments inside of you that are just waiting to be understood. And maybe, just maybe, let go of. What is your pain trying to tell you?